The objects people choose to keep in their home define who they are. This is Objectified, Willie Nelson. So what would talking to Willie Nelson be without this?
What's this, marijuana thing?
I'm Harvey Levin. This is the story of the country music outlaw who went against the grain his entire career. A career that spanned more than 60 years.
On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
Willie Nelson grew up in Abbott, Texas, dirt poor, and quickly discovered music was his calling. Being on the road was wild. Women and parties. You had quite the time, I understand.
What do you know?
He became a superstar singer, songwriter, musician. But despite incredible commercial success, Willie crashed and burned. You owed a lot of money to the IRS.
$32 million.
And his personal life off the rails.
Traveling on the road is not healthy for marriages.
There's a story about Shirley. Somebody sent her the invoice for the birth of a baby. Not her baby, but your baby. But Willie changed his life and turned things around, save for one indulgence. You had a house that was burning down, and you ran in to save two things. What were they?
Trigger.
Yeah?
And a big bag of weed. That was really good.
Willie Nelson, one of country music's greatest icons. Willie, I cannot thank you enough for doing this on your tour bus. Thank you so much. It's nice meeting you.
You too. You too.
And the idea of talking to Willie Nelson on 420 is a particular honor.
How about it? Yeah.
On your tour bus.
We're still here, yeah.
I want to understand how you became this prolific, amazing guy. And I want to start with childhood. Tell me what this is.
Well, that's a picture of me and my sister, Bobby, who still plays piano with us every night. And she and I have played a lot of music together.
Yeah, I want to start with your parents.
Well, they separated early in my life, and my grandmother came along and took over me and little sister, and my granddad was still alive then. He was a blacksmith, and I think I was helping him out at the blacksmith shop every day when he was shoeing horses.
Your grandparents were very religious.
Mm-hmm.
How did that translate with you?
Well, I was raised up in the Methodist church, and I went to church every Sunday and went to choir practice every Monday, and every Wednesday we did different things. So, yeah, I grew up in the Methodist church in Abbott, and still have a lot of great memories from there.
Gospel music was part of your life?
Still is, yeah. Gospel music is still a big part of our lives. Our show every night we play, I don't know, 4 or 5 good gospel songs.
Tell me about Booger Red. You had a nosebleed from...
I had to do a poem at this all-day singing dinner on the ground at somewhere out in East Texas. And my grandmother had taught me this little poem. And I had my little sailor suit on, red and white trims, and I started picking my nose before I started doing my poem. And naturally, my nose started bleeding all over my little red and white sailor suit. But the poem that she had taught me was kind of appropriate, I thought. It says, "What are you looking at me for? I ain't got nothing to say. If you don't like the looks of me, just look the other way."
That's fantastic, and that really does kind of resonate with Booger Red, doesn't it?
It does.
That's great. I love something you said once. All we did was fight and throw rocks.
That's about it. Not necessarily in that order.
Which would be first?
We thought first.
This was a small town, and you grew up kind of as a country boy.
Yeah, and our favorite pastime on Sunday was going out and fighting bumblebees. We guys, the young idiots in town, would, got tired of fighting each other, so we'd go out on Sundays and fight bumblebees. And we'd come home with our eyes closed shut and talking about what a great time we had.
That's especially dumb, isn't it?
Sure, exceedingly dumb.
You grew up poor, and I believe you picked cotton.
Mm-hmm.
You interacted with a lot of different people, different cultures. Did that help you with music?
I think so. Just in the cotton fields, I was around African Americans and around Mexican Americans, and everybody singing. And
You liked gambling, didn't you?
I do, I still do. And I'm not really good at any of them except maybe dominoes.
You were in the Air Force.
That's right.
That did not work out well for you, did it?
Well, not really. I really wasn't really cut out to take orders.
Yeah, you don't seem like a military guy to me.
No. And they realized that pretty quick.
Yeah. Why'd you do it?
I did it to get off the streets and get some food and a hospitalization and clothes and all that good stuff, because when you join the Air Force, there's a lot of good things that you get with it. I also got out of there with...
I know what that is. That's Trigger.
Yeah.
Tell me about when you got it and why it's Trigger.
Well, my favorite guitar player is and was Django Reinhardt, and he had an old guitar, D'Angelico, I think it was, and the tone was so great that I started looking for guitars that would have a similar tone, and I found this Martin, and it was in a music store there in Nashville. Shot Jackson owned the music store. It had the tone I wanted, and so I haven't quit it. I've stayed with it.
Is Trigger after the horse?
Yeah.
Roy Rogers' horse.
Roy had Trigger.
But there were times when you actually ended up pawning your guitar.
Oh, yeah, many times. Yeah, I pawned it so many times, I'd tell the joke that the pawnbroker played it better than I did.
And you go retrieve it when you make some money.
For Saturday night.
I love something you said, that the pick and finger is the second most important part of the body. Care to say what the first is?
I forgot I said that.
You did say that, and it's pretty funny. You were a DJ for a time.
Right.
Would you honor me with the way you introduced your show?
This is your old cotton picking, snuff tipping, tobacco chewing, stump jumping, gravy sopping, coffee pot dodging, dumpling eating hillbilly from Hill County, Willie Nelson.
Where'd you get the dumpling eating?
I don't. It was kind of euphonious, you know.
Rolling Stone has called you justifiably one of the great singer-songwriters of all time. Didn't start out easy for you, though, did it?
The scale of what I considered success was, I was very successful when I first made some money playing a guitar that I didn't have to go pick cotton for. So I finally had a way to get around that, and it was the guitar. So, hello, you know.
The record executives were not initially crazy about your voice, were they?
I don't know.
I had heard that. I don't know. I'm just.
They didn't tell me that.
They didn't tell you.
I can't tell you what to do, but she's not for you. She's not for you.
Yeah, I think my phrasing was a little scary for a lot of the people out there who really didn't understand. And Sinatra, being my favorite singer, his phrasing was fantastic, and I'm sure a lot of that, as I've listened to his songs over the years, I'm sure I picked up a lot of his phrasing. And it really didn't fit the Nashville sound probably that much, not back then.
I have had the privilege of hearing your version of My Way.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention.
And Willie, it is sensational. And I know you're releasing a Sinatra album.
Yeah.
That must be amazing for you, because I know how much you loved him.
Yeah, and it's, you know, really looking forward to getting it out there and singing some of the songs live on the shows maybe sometime. But My Way is such an incredible song. And it came off pretty well in the studio. So
It's amazing. It's amazing. And Paul Anka told me it's one of the best versions he's ever heard.
that's what he told me.
Yeah. You had just incredible hits. Mr. Record Man, Family Bible, Nightlife. You sold those for $50, $100 just to make ends meet. And these were just
Back
monsters.
then, it helped out, you know. It paid the rent.
Did you ever get them back?
Yeah, I got Nightlife back, Family Bible back. Through the years, you know, it took a while, but I did.
Crazy was such an amazing song.
Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely.
Did you ever think of singing it yourself rather than going to Patsy?
Well, back then I wasn't selling a lot of records, you know, and Patsy was really hot, so it just made a lot of sense to get as many Patsy records as you could. And fortunately, she liked Crazy a lot.
One of the biggest selling country songs of all time, I believe.
Yeah, it's all-time #1 jukebox song.
Since you got a guitar in your hand, would you give me 15 seconds of your favorite song?
Well, that's kind of hard to do. When the evening sun goes down, you will find me hanging round. The nightlife ain't no good life, but it's my life. Many people just like me, dreaming of who used to be. And the nightlife ain't no good life, but it's my life.
I am so blown away because that's my favorite song of
Oh,
yours.
really?
Yes.
Cool.
When you were younger, being on the road was wild. Women and gambling and parties. You had quite the time, I understand.
What do you know?
So tell me what that is. Who are these people?
That's me. That's Jimmy Day, one of the greatest steel guitar players ever.
I like that you keep a bulletin board of just things that are special to you that you take on the road with you.
Yeah, yeah.
What is life like on the road? Because you have been doing it for a long time, and I've just heard other singers say it's tough. You seem to love it.
Oh, maybe it's tough. I don't know. We enjoy playing music, and I love it. It's all worthwhile for me.
It's on the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
The bus is fantastic, but it's smaller than a house, and you live on it a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel confining to you?
Not really, no. But I have everything I need here. There's a stove, a nice box, a shower, and the whole thing. A nice big bed in the back.
A long time ago, you kind of gave up the bus in favor of the Four Seasons Hotel and private jets. It was nicer to get around.
I still enjoy a nice private jet ride every now and then.
Okay, you should.
Yeah.
Now, I know you have homes in various places, but this is home for
It is.
many.
And drivers and everybody else, they go in and have rooms in the hotel with room service, and that's cool. But I'm happy out here.
When you were younger, being on the road was wild. Women and gambling and parties. You had quite the time, I understand.
What do you know?
No, I'm not interrogating you. I've read a lot about you, and I just heard that you had a great time on the road.
As much as I can remember of it, it was real good.
I read once that you ran into the Hells Angels at some point somewhere, and you connected with them, and they ended up being part of your tour.
Still are.
How did that happen?
Well, we just kind of liked each other. A lot of the same attitudes and ideas, and we always were friends for all these years.
A lot of people have said, oh my God, the Hells Angels, they're scary, they're dangerous.
They probably are.
They protect you?
I protect them, and they protect me. It's kind of a mutual thing.
Is touring more important to you than recording?
it's kind of hard to compare because you need both if you're going to, you know, stay out here and seriously do music. You need to have some good studio time so you can keep making good records.
Right. Does one feed the other? When you tour, it helps records, and when you record, it helps touring?
Yeah, for sure. The record companies like it when we tour and promote the record, you know. And, plus, we enjoy doing it, whether it's new or old. You know, Whiskey River is still a good song.
Whiskey River is a great song.
Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let her memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I got, take care of me.
Do you keep up the same pace that you did 20 years ago on the road? Because I don't think you've slowed down. We're in San Antonio right now, and you're about to perform.
Oh, I think we were kind of moving along at pretty much the same speed that we have been for a while. Our shows are kind of up-tempo, good high-energy shows, and the audience seems to like that.
I got stuck in a massive traffic jam coming here because there were so many people who were coming to see you tonight here in San Antonio. And I was looking inside the cars as we were driving. And it's everybody. It's young, it's old, it's different ethnic groups. You have a rainbow coalition of fans, don't you?
Yeah, I see all ages, you know. I see kids and, you know, old people like me out there.
That must feel great that, you know, you've been an artist for so long and you connect with everybody still. Because then most artists don't.
I enjoy the audience. I enjoy the fans, you know. I like the attention. Who wouldn't, you know?
So you love the applause still?
Sure.
Talk to me about smoking at the White House.
I can't hardly remember that. There were several of us up there.
On the roof?
On the roof of the White House. It was nice up there.
Who was president?
I can't remember who all it was.
You were that high that you... So what would talking to Willie Nelson be without this? These must be here all the time, Willie, I would guess.
What's these, marijuana things?
Yeah, you know what that is?
I've seen these around. Look, it lights up on the end.
How about that?
See what it says?
What does it say?
WR, Willie Reserve.
Ah, you have your own private... Well, you do. You have your own...
Yeah.
So, you were not a fan of marijuana growing up, I understand. It wasn't really your thing.
Well, I never ran into it until, you know, I was moving around on the road a lot and run into people like Ray Price. You know, I'd had a couple of hits along the way, and but marijuana didn't really knock me out because I was a chain smoker first. So I'd smoke 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and they were killing me.
Did you feel that they were killing you?
Oh, I had pneumonia 4 or 5 times, and a lung collapse, and all that horse. So I finally said, well, it's got to be marijuana or nicotine, or I can't do both. And I wasn't getting high on Chesterfield. So I rolled up 20 fat ones, stuck it in my Chesterfield package, and I haven't smoked a cigarette since.
Did you give up drinking for marijuana?
Oh, I'll take a drink. You got what?
No, I don't. I don't. I'm sorry. Clearly, this is your thing.
This is better for me. Alcohol and I don't get along, you know, and I don't know a lot of people that it gets along with. Lost a lot of good friends that way.
At some point in your life, you had a house that was burning down, and you ran in to save maybe 2 things. What were they?
Trigger.
Yeah?
And a big bag of weed. That was really good. Couldn't let the police have that.
It was, I think, 2 pounds of Colombian weed.
It was.
Yeah. That must have been amazing to run in and get those 2 things. That really defines you, doesn't it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Honestly, Willie, everybody I've talked to that tells me you're the nicest guy they've ever met. You once talked about the allure of weed for you, and you said, I can be a real asshole when I'm straight. I don't understand that because nobody says that about you. Why did you say that about yourself?
Well, I probably know me better than most people do, you know. And I know when it's time for me to shut up and sit down.
Does marijuana calm you?
Yeah, when I was drinking a lot, Paul English, my friend and drummer, whenever I'd get too drunk and want to fight everybody, he would roll up a big fat one and make me take a couple of hits, and I'm drunk already, so it don't take long for me to go straight to bed. So he knew how to get me out of the picture.
Do you ever do harder drugs?
No. I've tried cocaine one time, and I don't need to go faster.
You're against cocaine, my understanding is.
Well, you know, I can't say I'm against it. I think I read somewhere in the Bible where it's not what you put in your mouth that harms you, it's what comes out of your mouth.
Talk to me about smoking at the White House.
I can't hardly remember that. There were several of us up there.
On the roof?
On the roof of the White House. It was nice up there.
Who was president?
I can't remember who all it was.
I think Carter was president.
Rosalind?
No,
Oh.
it was Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy. Yeah. Oh, God.
You were that high that you...
And I want to say again how much I've enjoyed seeing all of you, and thank you again, Willie Nelson. It was just absolutely wonderful. Thank you, all of you. It was great tonight.
No, I had fun in the White House. We went bowling and had a bowling alley down there, and we saw a movie down there. He was slept in the Lincoln bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you smoke in the Lincoln bedroom?
No.
Even you, that would be a lot.
No, that's not cool.
So you're not going to tell me who you smoked on the roof with?
No.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, talk to me about smoking with Snoop, because that must have been quite the contest.
Well, you know, buddies, we hang out a lot when we get a chance to make music together. We did a song called Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die.
I love that song, by the way. So how do you travel when you're kind of known for this? There are states, like here, where marijuana is not legal.
Well, we've been fortunate some of the times, and some of the times we haven't been. And it depends on where we are, the attitude of the venue, whatever. Most times people are very liberal thinking at a concert venue, and they don't really get cracked down that much on if you're drinking a little too much or whatever. They kind of let it slide.
How often do you smoke?
I don't know.
That much, huh?
Yeah, well, I was trying to think when I wasn't smoking, and I haven't come, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I've been married 4 times, and traveling on the road the way I do, did, or whatever, is not healthy for marriages.
There's a story about Shirley that I guess that fell apart when somebody sent her the invoice for the birth of a baby. Not her baby, but your baby.
Well, it didn't help the situation.
These are your sons, aren't they?
Yeah. Lucas and Micah.
And Lucas and Micah are in Neil Young's band, correct?
Occasionally, yeah, they travel with him some.
So they took after the dad.
Yeah, they're great.
So let me ask you a little bit about, you've been married 4 times. And everything that comes out of your mouth is just so either interesting, smart, or entertaining. And I love this. A hard has no conscience.
True story.
What we're talking about, I guess, is infidelity, right?
I've been married 4 times, and traveling on the road the way I do, and did, or whatever, is not healthy for marriages. I don't care whether it's me or whoever. And the last 32 years, I've been lucky to be with, you know, a lady that understands me. We travel together or we don't. Have very independent thinking, and so we managed to hold it together and raise a couple of great kids.
There's a story about Shirley that I guess that fell apart when somebody sent her the invoice for the birth of a baby.
I could see how that would upset her.
Yeah, not her baby, but your baby. That kind of did it there, didn't it?
Well, it didn't help the situation.
You know, you have a band that is with you all the time, and it's almost like the band becomes your family on the road. I mean, is that fair?
Very fair. We are family.
Do you see the band as much as more than you see the kids?
Well, yeah, I do. You know, unfortunately, but that's just the way it was. And,
It's part of the profession.
Part of the deal, yeah.
You have 8 kids. Billy died tragically. Apparently hung himself. How'd that affect you? Because that's just a terrible thing to have to endure.
Move on.
Just move on. How involved are you as a dad? Because you have a lot of kids. Do they come to you for advice?
Oh, they have, and occasionally. Mainly, I hope they just watch me and learn to do opposite of what I'm doing. That's what I told Ray Price, that I learned a lot about what not to do just by watching you. So the same way with me and my kids, I hope they'll watch me and not make the same mistakes I made.
Well, you've also done a lot right. So at this point in your life, you've been married for more than 3 decades to the same woman. You've got 2 kids who are following in your footsteps. You've got a sister who's with you all the time. Seems like when the dust all settles, you have a very tight, loving family.
I do. Very fortunate.
That must feel really good after the ups and the downs, that it just seems like it's a very
solid, yeah.
Loving family.
Yeah.
That's part of success of life, isn't it?
Hopefully, yeah. That's more than you could ask for.
You owed a lot of money to the IRS.
$32 million.
That must have been a tough period for you.
B. Spears said, well, I think they should be the ones who should be worried to let a guitar player from Abbott, Texas get into them for $32 million. They're not that smart.
Tell me a little bit about why you recorded this.
Well, these songs are songs with just me and my guitar that I put in the studio and left it there over the years. And through the years, whenever I want to put out some new songs that I'd written, I'd go to the studio, just me and the guitar, and put down just an acoustical version of it. And so I had a whole lot of songs over there. So when the IRS thing came along, I just offered him a deal. I said, I'll make you some IRS tapes. You get so much per record, and we'll go along until everything's paid.
And when I remember how things were, my memories all lead to her. I'd like to start my life anew.
I'm an attorney, and I have never heard this before. You partnered with the IRS with this CD.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. And it did well.
It did well, and they were glad. I was glad. Everybody's happy.
But guys came by with pencils and right. That's fantastic. Before you did this and dug yourself out of the hole, you owed a lot of money to the IRS.
$32 million.
$32 million.
Nelson fans journeyed from across the state for today's auction, many hoping to take home their own piece of the red-headed stranger.
They seized ranches, homes, they seized recordings. That must have been a tough period for you.
B. Spears played bass for me back in those days, and they asked him if I was worried, and B. Spears said, well, I think they should be the ones who should be worried to let a guitar player from Abbott, Texas get into them for $32 million. They're not that smart to begin with. Which I thought was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Ultimately, you got out of the hole, and I know Price Waterhouse ended up making things right.
We made a deal, and everything's worked out.
And things are good now.
Things are great.
I want to get into just a couple of the bumps along the road. You've been arrested a lot for weed. It would have been so much easier to drink, I suppose, than being thrown in jail for something as ridiculous as, smoking marijuana.
No, because I know weed's better for you than alcohol.
It is.
Period.
Absolutely. But that's not the way the law saw it.
Yeah, they'll learn.
My understanding is that you've been arrested so much that the police now see you and they get you, and they generally don't do anything.
Well, and they can come see my show and see if I remember any of the lyrics.
Is that a defense?
Yeah, and you know, if they can't at this point see anything that pot is hurting me for, except getting thrown in jail for it, but that's a learning experience for all of us, you know.
It's funny because we're in Texas where the laws are really strict.
Yeah.
They're not bothering you.
No, and they haven't for a long time, and that's cool. I think most of the people out there, the people who know what's going on, know that eventually the marijuana thing will get a little better in Texas. It got better in California. It'll get better everywhere.
Yeah.
It takes time for people to grow up and vote for it, you know.
Love this story. Back in the 80s, when you moved back to Abbott, Texas, somebody put a billboard up, and it said, town of Willie Nelson, and you weren't crazy about the billboard.
Well, you know, it wasn't something that I wanted to see up there a lot.
What'd you do?
I heard it got burned down.
You did, huh? Well, I heard you did something very noble, that it did get burned down and that they fingered somebody else. And you said that's not fair, and you came forward, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. They was trying to throw some kid in jail for doing it. He didn't do it.
This is your version of 3 billboards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. They all let up pick guitars and drive them old trucks. Let up be doctors and lawyers and stuff.
You became extremely famous and successful being called an outlaw on stage, kind of an outlaw singer. Did that kind of filter into other parts of your life, or was that just a stage persona for you?
It was not a big stretch for me to be the guy that they thought was, you know, the outlaw. I didn't have to really change anything to be that guy. My hair was already long and already wearing bandanas, so if that was enough to give them the outlaw thing, cool, I'll accept it.
So, you know, people talk about you as being a hellraiser back in the day. How do you think of yourself today?
Whatever the opposite of a hellraiser is.
Is that what you are, the opposite?
Yeah, yeah.